Life begins with a whisper and ends in a sigh. Between the two, we chase illusions as if they were substance. We believe in happiness, yet it slips through our fingers like water. We build towers of ambition only to find the ground beneath us ever shifting, unstable, indifferent. You live in a world that promises meaning, yet delivers only the relentless pulse of desire. Do not mistake this for failure. It is the very nature of existence. Every human being is born into a prison, not of iron bars, but of craving, of unending want, of the will that refuses to rest. You do not choose this life, yet here you are, dragged along by currents unseen, compelled to act, to seek, to suffer. In your heart, you feel it, the quiet despair that no laughter, no comfort, no accumulation of wealth can ever still. And yet, you cling to the illusion that fulfillment is possible. That is the first lie. That is the first wound. Desire is not a friend. It is a surgeon that pierces without mercy, that cuts and leaves scar upon scar. You are never satisfied. Even when the body lies in repose, the mind does not sleep. It races, it hunts, it plots, it mourns. The objects of your longing are but shadows, and the pursuit itself is endless. The will, the blind, unyielding force that drives all life, does not pause. You are its vessel. You are its prisoner. Look around you. Society tells you that you are free. It instructs you in the arts of comfort, entertainment, and accumulation. It hands you distractions in abundance, screens that glow with false faces, narratives of triumph that are not yours, promises of pleasure that fade before they reach your hand. And yet, in the stillness, in the silent hours of night, when the mask slips, you feel the truth. You are alone with yourself, and your suffering is unavoidable. The human heart is a fragile instrument, attuned only to longing. You are born desiring, and you will die still desiring. Every achievement, every moment of triumph, every fleeting joy is but a brief cessation of pain before the cycle renews itself. Children laugh, lovers embrace, friends celebrate, all as if meaning could be grasped and held. But these are the mirages on the desert of existence. Observe them and see clearly. Happiness is a temporary distraction, and all distraction is merely the will's effort to avoid its own awareness. And yet, there is beauty here, though not in the manner the poets or preachers claim. The beauty is in the recognition of truth. To see clearly, to feel the full weight of desire and disappointment, is itself a form of freedom. Not freedom from suffering that is impossible, but freedom from illusion. When you no longer clutch at the shadows, when you no longer beg the world to comfort you, a strange calm arises. It is not joy, it is clarity. And clarity, in a world so full of deception, is rare and exquisite. Consider the human body, that fragile vessel of the unrelenting will. It aches, it tires, it sickens, it decays. And yet, you fight, persist, strive to maintain it, as if longevity could deliver the meaning that does not exist. You adorn it with clothing, with trinkets, with status, thinking that the external can hide the internal truth. But the truth whispers, insistent, you are mortal, you are finite, and all you possess will be dust. Every smile hides an undertow of fear. Every embrace contains a shadow of loneliness. Every conversation carries the weight of unspoken despair. Time is a cruel companion. It moves relentlessly, indifferent to your dreams, your sorrow, your suffering. You age, you fail, you forget. And in forgetting, you are forced to repeat the same mistakes, the same desires, the same disappointments. Do not be fooled into thinking that wisdom grows with years. It grows only in those rare moments of reflection when you stop, pause, and see clearly the nature of your imprisonment. We live in a society that venerates achievement, that glorifies triumph, that sells the illusion of control. But all control is temporary. All triumph is fleeting. The king, the philosopher, the artist, the laborer, all are subject to the same relentless machinery of the will. And in your own life, you will witness it. Your plans thwarted, your hopes betrayed, your certainties shattered. There is no exception, there is no escape, only the awareness that all of this is inevitable. Desire chains you, expectation betrays you, and yet, even in this, there is a strange solace. The recognition of your condition, the clear-eyed acceptance of suffering, offers a depth of vision denied to those who cling to illusion. In seeing clearly, in acknowledging the relentless nature of desire and disappointment, you touch something profound, the raw, unvarnished truth of existence. And so, you endure. You move through the day, attending to tasks, fulfilling obligations, performing the roles assigned by society, by necessity, by habit. Yet beneath the surface, the awareness persists. All this is temporary, all this is fleeting, and all this is in service to the will that can never rest. In the quiet moments, when the world sleeps, and you are left with your own thoughts, you feel the vast emptiness, the unyielding rhythm, the certainty that nothing will ever be enough. But do not despair, not in the way the world tells you to. There is no false hope, no promise of salvation. There is only recognition, only the acknowledgement that life, in its essence, is suffering, and that to live is to bear this suffering with eyes wide open. To bear it lucidly is rare. To bear it fully conscious is exceptional. And in this exception lies a certain dignity, however quiet, however solitary. Listen to the silence. Listen to the stillness between your thoughts. Here, the illusions fall away. Here, the pretenses dissolve. Here, the self meets its own reflection without masks, without distractions, without lies. It is not comforting, not warm, not joyous. It is sober, precise, melancholic, and it is necessary. The will drives you, yes, but the awareness of the will's tyranny is a light in the darkness. It does not free you from suffering, but it shows the contours of the prison. And once you see the walls, once you know the chains, once you understand the machinery that compels you, there is a strange liberation in that very seeing. Not from joy, not from happiness, not from hope, only from illusion. Desire is a wound that never heals. It is not fleeting, it is eternal. Each longing you nurse, each ambition you cultivate, grows sharper with time. You believe that attaining it will bring relief. You believe that fulfillment will silence the endless whispering of want. But no attainment can satiate the will, for the will itself is infinite, insatiable, unrelenting. You are its vessel, and it knows no rest. Consider your life in fragments. Every morning you rise with a hope that tomorrow will be different, only to find the same currents sweeping you along. You seek love, yet even in love, the heart is never at peace. It clings, it fears, it mistrusts. Desire twists the very act of affection into another instrument of suffering. The lover's embrace is fleeting. The beloved is mortal. The self remains, solitary, unfulfilled, watching shadows pass across the walls of its own prison. Achievement, you have learned, is no refuge. The promotion, the recognition, the accumulation of wealth or prestige, all are temporary. They pass as swiftly as they arrive, leaving behind the same emptiness that preceded them. And worse, they demand new desires, new ambitions, new pains. The cycle repeats, relentless. To see this is to witness a cosmic cruelty. Life's only promise is unending striving, and the more you achieve, the more you are compelled to desire. Even the body conspires with the will. Pain, illness, fatigue, decay, they are constant companions, reminding you of fragility, of impermanence, of mortality. You dress them up in remedies, distractions, diversions. You tell yourself that comfort can be maintained, that suffering can be delayed, that desire can be tempered. Yet every evening, every ache, every line upon the skin whispers the truth. Nothing lasts, nothing satisfies, and the will drives onward regardless of your convenience or planning. Isolation is no less cruel. You are surrounded by others, yet you are alone. Each person carries their own private suffering, hidden beneath smiles and gestures. The illusion of connection is thin, fragile, and often deceptive. You speak, you listen, you perform the rituals of sociality, but in the silence of your mind, the truth. Others cannot relieve your suffering, cannot comprehend its contours, cannot rescue from the chains of desire. You are always alone. And yet, the mind seeks distraction. It seeks meaning in stories, in religion, in ideology, in culture. It seeks purpose in work, in duty, in creation. These are not illusions entirely. They are shelters, brief respites, diversions from the raw experience of existence. They soften the edges of despair, but they do not remove them. The will persists. Desire persists. Suffering persists. Awareness of these facts is not defeat. It is lucidity. The paradox is subtle and cruel. To see clearly is to suffer more, yet to see unclearly is to suffer more blindly. The illusions of society, the stories you tell yourself, the false promises of culture, all these amplify suffering in the long term. The mind trapped in fantasy cannot prepare for the inevitability of loss, disappointment, decay, and death. To acknowledge reality is to strip away the comforting veil, and in that stripping, a strange freedom emerges. Not joy, not hope, not consolation, only the precise, unflinching truth. You may wonder if this is bleakness without end, and it is necessary. Life is suffering, not by accident, not by error, but by the very structure of being. Desire, the will, the body, the mind, all conspire to ensure that no satisfaction is permanent, that no pleasure is eternal, that no peace is final. The world is an endless river of striving, and you are swept along whether you know it or not. Observe those around you. Their smiles, their laughter, their fleeting contentments, they are temporary shelters. Watch them clutch at security, at comfort, at affection, at recognition. See how easily it slips. See how quickly it vanishes. The pattern is universal. The suffering is inevitable. And yet, even here, there is a strange relief. To recognize the pattern, to name it, to see it without delusion is a kind of mastery not over life, not over the will, but over illusion. And so, the mind turns inward. You confront yourself in the quiet spaces between action and thought. You see the endless desires, the futile ambitions, the recurring patterns of disappointment. You see the self small, fragile, mortal, yet aware. Awareness does not remove suffering. It does not grant comfort. It does not promise happiness. But it does offer clarity. And clarity, in a world so often clouded by illusion, is profound. The recognition is subtle, almost imperceptible at first, that suffering is not an aberration, not a punishment, not a mistake. It is the essence of existence. It is the thread that binds all life, all desire, all experience. To live is to suffer, and to suffer is to live. There is no other way. And yet, in acknowledging this, a strange serenity emerges. It is not warmth, not elation, not hope, only the sober acceptance of what is. Society whispers lies at every turn. It dresses deception in gold, in applause, in the comforting routines of daily life. You are told that you are free, that you are important, that your choices matter, but freedom is a performance. Importance is a currency of comparison. Choice is an illusion of a mind enslaved by desire. The world instructs you to look outward, to seek recognition, to crave validation. And in doing so, it chains you more tightly to the machinery of suffering. Observe the modern world. Screens glow with curated lives, and you are invited to participate, to measure yourself against impossible standards. Likes, follows, applause, these are the new measures of worth. The mind convinces itself that satisfaction lies here, in the approval of strangers, in the accumulation of symbols, in the endless scroll. But no external measure can still the internal ache. No recognition can fill the void that is your own awareness. You chase the shadows of other lives, forgetting your own, and yet the will drives onward. Comfort is a silent killer. It is the anesthetic that masks despair, the velvet rope that binds you without notice. You arrange your life to avoid pain, to maintain security, to ensure predictability. And yet, predictability dulls the senses, erodes courage, and fosters a slow decay of awareness. The mind, sedated by comfort, forgets to see clearly. It learns to accept illusion as reality, to embrace distraction as solace. And in this embrace, the subtle death of consciousness begins. Culture, religion, and ideology are no less deceptive. They promise meaning where none exists. They offer narratives of purpose, of destiny, of reward, to mask the relentless machinery of desire. Every story of triumph, every doctrine of salvation, every moral compass is a map to nowhere, guiding you through the labyrinth of your own suffering without acknowledging its origin. You are told to live for others, for the greater good, for the invisible hand of providence. And you comply, unaware that these constructs serve only to obscure the fact that life is suffering, and suffering is the teacher, the mirror, the unflinching witness. The herd instinct amplifies misery. You measure yourself against neighbors, colleagues, strangers. You compete for status, for admiration, for validation. Comparison is a vector of suffering, subtle and insidious. Every glance at another's perceived success stabs at the unfulfilled desires within. Every story of achievement not your own whispers, in silence, you are lacking, you are incomplete, you are behind. The mind, ever restless, cannot abide this, and yet it persists, seeking relief in futile pursuit. Modernity, with its conveniences and distractions, offers the illusion of control. You manage schedules, finances, social calendars, and yet the deeper currents of desire and futility are untouched. Technology promises efficiency, productivity, connection, yet it delivers only more noise, more craving, more comparison. You believe that mastering these external tools will liberate you, but the chains of the will remain invisible, unbroken, relentless. Even the pursuit of knowledge is not free from suffering. Education, expertise, erudition, they offer insight, yes, but also pride, envy, and new layers of desire. The mind becomes entangled in abstractions, theories, ideals, and the weight of comprehension can be its own form of torment. To see clearly and survive, the clarity is rarer still. Most are sedated by distraction, lulled by comfort, drowned in the river of collective illusion. And yet, there is a strange relief in piercing these illusions. To recognize the machinery of society, the subtle tyranny of culture, the quiet deceit of comfort, to see clearly without flinching is a liberation of sorts. Not a liberation of joy, not a liberation of hope, not a liberation of satisfaction, only a liberation of recognition. The mind steps outside the current, observes it, and for a brief moment, it is awake, it is conscious, it is lucid. And in that lucidity, a peculiar serenity arises, fragile and fleeting, yet profound. Observe your own complicity. You participate, knowingly or not, in the rituals of deception. You seek entertainment to dull the edge of awareness. You chase recognition to obscure your solitude. You embrace culture and ideology to mask the ache of desire. And yet, beneath all this, the quiet observer within notices. The observer watches without illusion, sees without attachment, hears without judgment. This witness, subtle, patient, melancholic, is the closest you will come to freedom in a world structured to ensure its opposite. And so, the mind oscillates between participation and observation, between indulgence and awareness, between illusion and clarity. Each cycle is exhausting, each recognition fleeting. Yet in this oscillation, a pattern emerges. Suffering is not accidental, desire is not trivial, culture is not benevolent. All conspire to sharpen the awareness of the individual, to test endurance, to confront reality in its starkest form. And for those who dare to see, there is a rare gift. The precise, unflinching knowledge of what life truly is. You are not what you imagine. The self you clutch at, the identity you defend, the narrative you tell yourself, it is fragile, fleeting, a phantom shaped by desire. In the quiet, when all external voices recede, the truth emerges. You are a consciousness caught in the machinery of the will, observing but never free from its relentless pull. To confront this is not easy. It is a descent into solitude, a meeting with your own essence, stripped of pretense. Acceptance is the first threshold, not acceptance of hope, not of comfort, not of triumph, acceptance of fact. Life is suffering. Desire is unending. All attachment is temporary. To bear this knowledge without flinching is to awaken in a world asleep. And the awakening is neither joyous nor bitter. It is precise, clear, and exact. Observe yourself. Each thought, each impulse, each fleeting wish, all are instruments of the will. You chase one only for another to arise. You resist one only for another to assert itself. Yet, in this ceaseless motion, there is a witness, the observer, quiet, patient, unflinching. This witness sees the machinery, sees the chains, sees the relentless pursuit of fulfillment that is forever denied. And in that seeing, something subtle occurs. A detachment, a clarity, a recognition that you are not wholly consumed. The paradox is stark. The more you see, the more suffering becomes vivid, immediate, inescapable. And yet, the same seeing offers a peculiar serenity. Not relief, not joy, not hope, only lucidity. You begin to understand that comfort is not necessary, that distraction is optional, that desire is a teacher rather than a tyrant. The recognition does not alter the world. The will continues. Desire persists. Suffering endures. But the mind, now aware, moves with a quiet precision, a conscious endurance, an acceptance that is itself a form of dignity. The solitude you feared becomes a companion. You need not flee from it. In solitude, distractions fall away. Illusions dissolve. The self confronts itself, unadorned, unprotected, unrelenting. You witness desire rise and fall, suffering ebb and swell, consciousness awaken and fade. And in this witness, a strange calm emerges, melancholic, solemn, profound, a recognition that all is as it must be. Even the smallest actions gain a weight you had never noticed. Every gesture, every thought, every acknowledgement of reality becomes a meditation. You act, yes, but with awareness. You speak, yes, but with observation. You live, yes, but lucidly. And in this lucidity, there is a peculiar affirmation beneath despair. Not a yes of triumph, not a yes of hope, but a quiet yes to what is, to the machinery of desire, to the inevitability of suffering, to the unbroken cycle of life. The paradox of life is this: clarity does not remove suffering, but it makes it intelligible. Understanding does not ease pain, but it transforms it into knowledge. Awareness does not grant freedom from the will, but it grants freedom from illusion. And in that freedom, there is a subtle dignity, a recognition that you endure consciously, that you witness lucidly, that you participate with eyes wide open in a world designed to blind. Do not seek to flee. Do not seek to numb. Do not seek to distract. Instead, observe, see clearly, watch desire rise and fall. Watch the self clutch and release. Watch the will persist without pause. And in your observing, in your lucid endurance, a quiet strength emerges, not the strength of action, not the strength of achievement, not the strength of triumph, only the strength of seeing, of knowing, of enduring consciously. And here, in this quiet recognition, the mind touches something profound. It is not comfort, it is not hope, it is not joy, it is clarity, it is lucidity. It is the understanding that suffering is not punishment, not error, not failure, it is existence. To endure, to witness, to observe, that is all that life allows. And that, in itself, is rare, exquisite, and necessary. All that we are is shadow. All that we touch dissolves into dust. Every joy, every longing, every fleeting triumph is a whisper against the eternity of suffering. And yet, here you are, aware, conscious, enduring, not triumphant, not relieved, not redeemed, only lucid, only present, only seeing. The will continues, relentless, indifferent. Desire pulses through the veins of every living thing, unyielding, unstoppable. The body ages, the mind tires. Friends leave, lovers fade. All that you cherish crumbles. There is no exception. There is no escape. There is only the witness, and in that witness, the only possible freedom. You have seen the machinery. You have observed the illusions. You have felt the weight of desire, the emptiness of fulfillment, the solitude of the self. And in this seeing, a quiet surrender arises. Not resignation, not despair, not hope, only acceptance that life is suffering, that suffering is life, and that you are awake to it. Listen to the silence. Feel the stillness between thoughts. In that stillness, the self meets itself without adornment, without distraction, without lies. It is small. It is finite, it is fragile, and yet it is aware. And awareness, in a world constructed to blind, is its own rare triumph. The chains remain, the machinery hums, desire persists. Yet the mind, now lucid, does not resist. It observes, it endures, it recognizes. There is a solemn dignity in this endurance, a subtle grace in the act of conscious suffering. You live fully aware of every shadow, every ache, every limitation. And that awareness is the closest thing to liberation that existence allows. No promises are given, no illusions offered, no comforts delivered. Only truth, only seeing, only the quiet, relentless acknowledgement of what is. And in that acknowledgement, there is something fragile, melancholic, exquisite, the strange, sober beauty of existence itself. All things fade, all things pass, all things are transient, and yet consciousness remains. A lantern in the darkness, a witness to the endless tide of desire, suffering, and decay. You are this witness. You endure. You see. And in knowing, there is a clarity that cannot be taken, a serenity that cannot be borrowed, a quiet affirmation that life in all its unflinching cruelty is as it must be. So let the shadows fall. Let the world grind on. Let desire pulse through the veins of all living things. Watch, observe, endure. And know that the act of seeing, the act of enduring consciously, is itself a kind of transcendence, not triumphant, not victorious, not joyous, only lucid, only real, only true. You are awake, and that is enough.